going to talk about some email marketing secrets. I'm going to dive into a lot of different content. So here's some things you can learn from today. You're going to learn the basics of email marketing. So you're going to learn strategies to increase engagement. You're going to understand the importance of collecting emails. You're going to be able to define an email marketing strategy for your business. You're going to learn the best practices for email design and email copywriting. So I hope you're ready for this. Okay. But before we can deal with digital or even email marketing, we have to deal with one thing, your mindset. And so there's 3 mindsets that we need to install before we even get into the content we have for today. Okay. So first mindset is this: consistency is a mindset. There's no tool for that. I'm going to say that again. Consistency is a mindset. There is no tool for that. QuickBooks, email marketing with MailChimp. These are amazing tools, but you still need to be consistent. You need to consistently check and put in your information for your books, right? You need to consistently check and check your database and grow your database of emails in your email marketing systems with MailChimp, right? So consistency is a mindset. There's no tool that can help you do that. So you have to install that mindset. Become a consistent person, become a consistent marketer, become a consistent business. Every great business has consistency. So I don't got time to dive deep into this, but I have to at least touch it. The second mindset is that the best resource is resourcefulness. You being in this program is showing that you're resourceful, right? Resourcefulness. So some people will say, I don't have this, I don't have that. Well, there's resources if you look around and you can leverage the resources you have. I love what my friend says. My friend Doug always says, the eat what's in your fridge mindset, right? So you might not have maybe something to eat that you want, maybe those leftovers, but instead of going down the street to order a pizza or order some Popeyes or whatever, you use what you have. You take what you have, you eat this in your fridge, you put some stuff together, you produce a product. So I encourage you to have the same mindset, to be resourceful. The third mindset is this: you're going to be getting a lot of information. You've been getting a lot of information over the past few weeks. Practice mastery versus overwhelm. Mastery versus overwhelm. It's about mastery. I love what Bruce Lee said. I fear not the man who's practiced 1,000 kicks. I fear the man once. So let me rewind that. I fear not the man who's practiced 1,000 kicks one time. I fear the man who's practiced one kick 1,000 times. So mastery is the name of the game. So, hey, you're going to learn some things about email marketing today. I don't expect you to use everything that I'm going to share with you. I would like for you to start pulling one muscle. Maybe it's, hey, I'm going to know how to send broadcast emails. I'm going to send one broadcast email every week. That's my karate chop that I'm going to do. And I'm going to stick to that karate chop until I feel comfortable to move on to the next one. Okay. So that's the third mindset. So let's dive into some steps for list building as a whole. Every business, I want to sell you on the idea of email marketing. That's what I want to start with first, and then we're going to dive in. Okay. So the first steps in your list building process are identifying your target audience, creating irresistible offers, adding strong calls to action, having targeted landing pages, and building high converting forms. If you don't have a website, you should get one. If you do have a website, you should get Google Analytics. So Google Analytics is really critical for monitoring traffic, analyzing data. This is a great way to find out what's going on around your business. 2, you want to create irresistible offers, right? You want to create irresistible offers. When I started, this was the first offer that I had that I was giving to people for free lead magnet. It's called the Ultimate Social Media Toolkit. And it was a kit that pretty much people could just download the resource and get all these different tools that they could use for their business. You want to come up with some ideas, what those could be. Third, you want to have strong calls to action, things that are going to drive people to say, click yes, click download, put their information in. You know, it's obvious to some, right? Like that, oh, you just got to click the button. but you really always got to tell people what to do. You can't just assume. You always want to give them a call to action. Click here, go here, download now, all of those things. 4, you want to have highly targeted landing pages. The more specific and targeted, the more effective they are, right? Speak to a specific audience. Drive a result to someone that needs what you have. The 5th thing is that you want to build a high converting form. So use great optimization tools and things to make sure when you're sending traffic to a page to download and then they're getting your email, that it looks nice, that it's something that's going to get somebody to want to put their information, and colors and the color scheme and the look and the feel are important. So let's get into some email copywriting. These are principles that you can leverage for email marketing. They're principles that you should be able to leverage for marketing always. When I teach at Temple, I don't give them the newest books. I don't give them the newest books to do for their homework. I always take the oldies and goodies, right? This is a book around persuasion. These are principles that don't change. The book is called Influence by Robert Cialdini. And in that book, he breaks down the 6 weapons of influence. They are reciprocity, which is a rewarding kind of, I'm going to dive deep into each of these in a second. Limited consistency, consensus, affinity, authority, scarcity, and there you have it. Those are the 6 weapons of influence. And this is useful to know in any copywriting you do, not just for email, but on a landing page, anywhere you go. Like I use these laws of influence in everything, in selling, marketing, and in my own household. So it's important that you understand these principles and then you can leverage them in your email. So one of the ones that is I think the easiest to utilize is reciprocity. So it's like giving an email of value and then you asking for a call to action. Download our guide. Hey, did you know that these are 3 ways that your business could grow exponentially in 2024, at the end of 2024? And then, hey, I download my ultimate growth guide, right? You're giving value, and you're asking them to download your growth guide, and you're asking for their email. In return, they feel like, you know what? This looks like it's valuable. I'll give you my name and number and email. Second weapon of influence is commitment and consistency. So what I love about commitment and consistency is that it shows people in your email marketing, you can reward your customers. So let's say you got people in your list that are long-time customers and you're segmented. We'll talk more about segmentation in a second here, but they're segmented to, and you just want to reward them. They've just been in your community. They're your buyers. They buy everything you put out. So commitment and consistency could be something as a simple reward for your continual support of our brand. We wanted to give you 15% off or 20% off, right? That's commitment and consistency. You're rewarding the people for their commitment and their consistency. So it's a psychological thing, right? When you're rewarding your email list, right? You're showing them that you value them, and that commitment and consistency shines through. The next principle is consensus. People are more receptive to the opinions of others than they are receptive to your word. So, meaning, don't say how great you are. Let other people say how great you are. And here's the key. In your emails, use this to your advantage. Show screenshots of your customer reviews like you see on this page here. Show how many people have bought your product and rave about it and rant about it. Show videos or testimonials or just written text, right? Leverage this to the best of your ability. I think this was pretty clear. I'm not going to do my normal survey on this one, but you just need to make sure that you're using the consensus of others, or AKA social proof. It's hard to deny when a lot of people are saying something about you. The next one is authority. I think this one's my favorite. authority as a well-known brand, right? Or, a lot of us feel like, hey, I'm not a well-known brand. How do I, position or do this? Um, well, the truth is you can still leverage authority. I'm gonna talk about that in a second, but think about an athlete like Neymar. I know Neymar, soccer is not as popular here in the US, but he is a global sensation, Neymar, right? And or in our case here in the US, LeBron James, right? Utilizing somebody like LeBron James. So what you could have there is leveraging that authority. So what is your authority, right? Authority is your recognition. How could you leverage this in an email, right? If you're award winning, make that in your signature, right? If you're award winning, put that in there. If you're so I know some Goldman Sachs 10,000 small business graduates in here. Put that in your subject signature, right? If you're Zagat rated, put that in your signature. That's one way to do it. Um, if you have a partnership where you have something influential happening, or you've been featured in the media, leverage that in your email. A lot of people don't utilize their authority enough. Leverage your authority. When people see authority, they act differently to a message. It changes how they receive the message. Scarcity. This is the fear of loss. We all have a desire to not lose. What's interesting, if a person lost $100, $20 bill, or if I gave them $100 bill, a person would be more moved by losing the $20 than gaining the $100 bill, right? Why is that? We hate losing things. The fear of loss is like even a loss of opportunity, the opportunity cost, right? Why does Black Friday work so well? Scarcity. So in your emails, in your marketing, and I'm not saying use false scarcity, I'm saying use actual scarcity. Make sure that you can back it up, right? Hey, we only have 10 we're giving away, or we're only doing 5 consultations this week. Leverage scarcity in your email marketing. Hey, we're closing this program down, or hey, we're closing our store at this time. We're not opening this up to the masses at this time. So, after this time. So, use countdowns and other things that you could put in. The Krabs methodology. This is a simple framework that you can use. This is what you literally take a screenshot of this, put this into your memory. Um, for when you are writing an email, this is a way you can just check and make sure your emails are, doing the right things. Okay. So first is chunking. People don't want to see long globs and blobs of text all in a row. You ever see emails or text messages like that? It's absolutely not fun. You want to make sure that you chunk it. People read by skimming. They scan, they look through your content. They don't read everything. Newsflash, I want to let you know, most people are not reading every word in your email. They're not reading every word. So you need to make sure you separate it out, make it easy on the eyes. Okay. The other thing is you need to be relevant. You need to be relevant, right? Relevant in the terms of, relating to the market that you're serving. Also relevant in terms of, leverage events that are going on in the world, right? Leverage events that are going on in the world, things that are happening. If you're in a local market, tap into, the Eagles or things of that nature, beating the Giants, whatever you can. Whatever you can leverage, use it to your advantage. Accuracy. You want to make sure that, you're spot on with your facts, with your information, with your copy itself, like check your grammar, all that good stuff. And brevity. Want to be quick and to the point. And brevity doesn't mean you can't send a long email, but don't don't elongate something that could be shed shorter. I can't remember who said it, but it said it's one of the famous geniuses, or either Einstein or one of those uh geniuses, said, I apologize for the long letter. If I had more time, I would have written you a shorter one. So I hope you understand that. So the shorter letter actually takes more skill to be concise and brief and to the point. It takes no skill to send a long, lengthy email that's not to the point. Okay. Scannability. Kind of talked about it. People scan emails. They don't read emails. So is your email scannable? So these are all things I would do before you send out any email to your list. This is really key. Your subject line is something you want to make sure you have in motion. Uh, and these stats could be even higher than this or now. Is that the subject line is what causes people to open. 41% of people open because of a subject line. So that's your headline, or another way of saying it. So here's some common ideas that you can leverage. Okay, a teaser type of question, like just teasing them a question, loss aversion, an event that you're tying into, a direct approach, um, personalization. That's one of my favorites. Language that speaks to the reader. All of these ways are ways that and I like to use emojis. If it's not part of your brand, you can stay away from them. But if it is part of your brand, great. It can be a good tool for those subject lines. So a lot of people work so much on the body of the content in their email, and that's good. You should. But you know what? You need to spend more time on your headlines than you do even your body of content in the email. Your headline or your subject line is what gets them to even read the email. So it's really critical you spend time doing it. For your emails, you wanna check and see, are you using an identifiable from address. People like to work with as much as possible if you can send it from a person, not a company, right? Like, so for example, I'm just using Lynette as an example. If I had an email, I'd say Lynette of nuts about popcorn. I wouldn't just put, even for myself, I put David of Kingdom Social Media. So I tie my name to the brand because they feel like it's a person. Remember, an email feels like you want to make your emails feel like you're sending to one person, not to a whole lot of people, even though you are. So it's more personal. It feels like they're connecting. Um, you know, for my nonprofits in here, it can feel like, well, especially if you're asking for a donation, it feels like a friend is asking you for help, right? So pre-header, this is the next important thing after the subject line. Pre-header is like that little bit of text you can see. You're kind of weighing, am I going to open that email? I don't know. Let me check. That headline got me, but let me see, right? So that pre-header is really important too. So you can decide through MailChimp or, if you want to show a pre-header, or you want to I encourage you to always put a pre-header on your emails so people can see a little taste of what you're going to say, right? It helps you to get your emails open too. So these are the only two ways you can market your email, right? Meaning, like, to get people to even open it, these are the only two things they can really see. I talked about scannability, right? Keeping the copy short. I love this image. Don't let this sale slip away, right? That's great scannability, right? Um, Avoiding those long paragraphs, long sentences, break up that text, leave plenty of white space, large margins, and we're gonna dive into some of that as well here in a second. So, as I said earlier, there's no real universal ideal length of an email. It's about relevancy and how well that email is going to help somebody. I mean, how much value you're putting in that email. If you don't need too much text to explain the value, you can just do that. So, um, that's one of the key things. Short copy can generate curiosity and drive urgency. Long copy can explain the benefits, overcome objections, and convert people who are on the fence. And then people can see, on the long emails that's relevant, they're going to just go through. So you want to test different email lengths. You want to see the engagement. MailChimp has a lot of different tools in tracking on your emails, so you can split test stuff, see Call to action. You want to make sure that your call to action is clear too. This is one of the most important elements of your copywriting and design. I kind of shared this earlier that you still got to tell people what to do, why, what they need to do. So if you see the phrase CTA, that stands for call to action. Got to be clear and be concise. Make sure that it's something that resonates with people. Order now, click here, buy now. I like to have I like to even have soft call to action sometimes, even if I'm not sending someone to a specific like thing to download or to buy. I'll have something like reply yes if this resonated. That could be a call to action. Um, Send us an email if you'd like help with this, right? Calls to actions vary. Now, we get into a little bit of design here. Um, and some things that you want to put into your email. You want to make sure you're leveraging hyperlinks, right? Sometimes those long looking, just a bunch of letters and text and can be a little lengthy, right? So you want to use hyperlinks in your email and push people to, click here to see the full thing or, you know, send people to through a button. And there's some tools that you can do some really nice designs within MailChimp. So personalization is key. It's effective, right? I love to do this in every email that I can. Hey, first name, maybe something first name in the subject line, something first name as I open up the email. Um, when you have all your data as Joseph was talking about here, you're always able to you can merge your contact data into MailChimp, right? So say the name of their company, the name of their uh you know you got their name, first name, last name, or you have some other identification thing that you want to utilize in like a birthday even or something that like that, right? You can utilize personalization to just show another level of that personal touch. Some things as you've got your emails going, right? List management. You want to estimate the cost of unsubscribes and badly target. You don't want to just add people on your list just to add one list. You want to protect your list. It's a very valuable asset. I think that 90% of marketing dollars are wasted by not having an email list, not having a really polished email list, right? Continuing to check on it, continue to do these things. Your list is so valuable. People pay for email lists, by the way. Like they pay money for it because it's such a valuable asset. So I want you to make sure that you monitor your list, monitor the rates. We're going to get deep into numbers and details and all that, but that's something you want to start to do. Check the open rate, click-through rate, right? You want to unsubscribe rate. These are all numbers that are provided for you as you're sending, okay? You want to send a welcome email. We talked about that as an example. You're going to send an initial welcome email, and they can have different prompts. You want to keep your list updated, right? Up to 25% of your email list could drop each year. It's just the natural nature of this thing. People unsubscribe, right? Don't be offended. It's part of the game, just actually thank them for unsubscribing. I'd rather have an unsubscribe than somebody be on the list that doesn't open anything at all, wasting time on my list, right? So remove hard bounces, anything that, somebody give you a fake email, fake information, or maybe intentionally and unintentionally. You want to remove those. Those affect your relationship with the email list and with the service providers. Okay. You want to build campaigns to re-engage, right? If you haven't done if we haven't sent an email in a little while, maybe you have an existing list and re-engage these people, right? Send a re-engagement campaign. Just add value, send out to the list. I also think it's important to ensure quality over quantity. Make sure that your list is really, the right fit. You're getting good numbers of opens. You're checking out all these things. You know, that people that are not on the list, like that are not engaging with the list, I like to send a, hey, you know, is this information still relevant for you? If not, we're going to um politely remove you from our list. We've seen you haven't opened in a while. So give them that opportunity before you scrub the list, right? So you want to focus on having engaged people because this affects everything for you, your quality, again, and your deliverability, and all these things are affected by these things. So you want to make sure take time to set some goals regarding this. Okay, you want to leverage in segmentation. You know, the people that maybe you sell certain products, people that want your clothing items as opposed to the people that want your kitchen items. I'm throwing an example, probably not the best example, right? There are two different types of people, right? So you gotta sort that out, sort and sift those lists and engage with the people correctly. Let's talk a little bit about some technical stuff, right? I was kind of showing you an example of HTML. Emails are built on HTML. There's different ways emails can look and be received depending on the application that is used for somebody to receive. I'm a Gmail guy, as you probably can see. Um, so your email may not render if your images and styling aren't properly integrated, right? So you want to be cautious of, again, uh, you know, too heavy. Again, this is just my thing, but know the compression of the, I don't want to get too advanced on you guys, but basically don't want to use too much space in your email because emails what might not even get delivered if you put too much in it, right? From an imagery standpoint, and things of that nature. Some design trends, right? You know, leveraging, personalization, content, using AI, just some things that you saw are pretty powerful. When it comes to for some of you, the brand is really big, right? So you're going to want to use uh, the templates and things of that nature. So be consistent with that, with your branding. Be consistent with your messaging. Um, so they know. Colors are also important too, and a lot of people don't realize colors have emotion, right? They emote things, right? Optimism, clarity, warmth. Yellow slash gold is the color for that. Friendly, cheerful, confident, right? And a brand like a Nickelodeon, right? That's orange. Excitement, bold, youthful, red, right? These are different colors. So if you have certain brand colors, just know that these things affect your brand, right? All of these things are important to know. Fonts, right? You want to make sure you got a simple font. So a lot of people don't think about this, right? Changing your font every week, it's not good for your brand. Be consistent. Find a font you like, unless you're gonna try to like illustrate something, but that's part of your tone. That's part of your voice online. So your font style is part of your brand. Okay. So again, I talked about it a little bit earlier, but you want to be mindful of mobile and design from for a mobile experience as well. More people read things on mobile than they do on desktop. It's very highly skewed. Like, no, the numbers, if I had to guess, the numbers are probably like 70 to 80%, right? Um, but make it easy for people to read and buttons. That's why it's good when you run a test, you check your mobile too. Make it like some things, if you design for desktop, are not easily um visible or as well designed for mobile. So you need to make sure you check both. There's already mobile optimization within MailChimp already, but certain things, if you do it a certain way, you just going to be mindful that, you know, you got to look at the experience on both, right? So just always check that. You got to have larger font on mobile. You got to know the scaling. You got to know what your calls to actions are, streamlined, using imagery, right? All of those things are really get to the point, especially for mobile, right? When it comes to email, right? We talked about some things that you can have involved in there. A nice header, salutation, a greeting, hello, hi, dear, whatever you want to say. You want to have a paragraph that leads in. You want to have a clear call to action. You want to have a closing. You want to draw people in to do something or act upon something. You want to have a consistent signature, right? Your signature is really important. And then as you saw in the email we were putting in the test, you can incorporate your social sharing buttons. And what's cool is MailChimp, you can track all the click throughs to it as well. So you can see who's going to what, you know. You can put your emails, you put your email, you can put your social in there. So again, be mindful of your imagery in there. I also like to use GIFs, like GIF, Giphy, things of that nature. People like those in emails. So that's another cool way you can use imagery and kind of have some motion in there, um, and put it into your emails as well. That could be a cool thing. Don't go too crazy with it, but you can do that because some browsers do what's called image blocking, right? So it doesn't display. So some people marketers like to do 40/60 dispensing text and images in proportion, um, and to avoid not going to spam because too much imagery can end you up in spam in some cases. We kind of went over this testing images over, so I want to show you just different platforms that have image blocking, right? Um, Images displayed by default, Apple, Gmail, right? Images displayed for trusted senders. You can see here, Outlook. Well, how do you become a trusted sender? That's the thing. You got to have a good credibility with the systems. Okay. I want to kind of wrap up here with a few things, few reminders for conversion, right? Because all of us are using this email tool to hopefully bring sales, right? Close business. So you want to use contrast. When you do have email, right? Contrast and white space. But you want to keep things clear and uncluttered in your email marketing, right? Make sure your formatting is good. Have a clear call to action. Have your social media in there. Be mindful of space. You also want to make sure that you repeat your call to action multiple times. You don't just say it once. Again, people need to be led where to go, what to do. You want to consider turning those hyperlinks into easy click buttons. Split test design and see what works. Never get comfortable with your result. Always split test your test. Like just test your test, right? After you've done something, okay, it's great. No, test it again. It can get greater. Okay. So again, I'm going to wrap up with this, that good email design uses two key triggers: credibility, social proof of the 6 weapons, right? Use your credibility, use your social proof, leverage these things, testimonials, reviews, all of these things and components. So just want to give some thank yous. Thank you to Keith, Martha, Deandra, and the whole Urban League team. Thank you, Mike, Tania, Ken, and the whole Intuit team. And thank you for being here to pour into yourself and your business.